Previously.
Haven't you caused enough trouble here? Most of us would be just as glad if your kind never came back.
My friend, let's just call him Vrook. He went into the sublevel, which isn't without its dangers, and he hasn't returned. I'm starting to fear the worst. Would you be willing to go to the ruins of the Enclave to look for him?
She finds a datapad containing orders from Azkul, the leader of the Mercenaries on Dantooine. Vrook has wandered into the Enclave alone, the orders say. You will take a full squad and capture the Jedi alive.
You are no match for us.
The crystals here are infused with the Force. Some could be harvested and used for lightsabers.
With the weight of millennia in her pocket, Surik heads back towards Khoonda with Kreia.
You are the Jedi I've heard reports of. I am Azkul, leader of the Mercenaries on Dantooine.
The leader of the Mercenaries, yes, a former Sith trooper. She has heard of him and the danger he represents. Supposedly there is a reason Azkul engaged her in a discussion instead of a fight.
Straight to the point. I like that. I will be equally direct. I am planning to take Khoonda, and you're going to help me. According to my reports, I have 4 times as many soldiers as the militia, and I'm committed to taking Khoonda. It is inevitable that I will succeed. If you wish to avoid my men eradicating the people of Dantooine, you will make it easier for me to take Khoonda. Of course, I will pay well for your services.
Credits would make her life a lot easier, and she is keenly aware of his superior numbers. Khoonda will lose many if they fight back. If Surik ensures the battle ends quickly, casualties will indeed be fewer.
There are many ways someone with your abilities can aid us. Before the action begins, I have 2 main tasks in mind for you. Disable the gun turrets and the traps.
That should be easy enough. She could offer her services to bolster Khoonda's defenses, providing an opportunity for sabotage. An advance payment would make her job easier, however.
You'll get your payment when you see the job through to the end. Return to me when you are ready for us to begin our assault. I warn you not to keep me waiting.
In that case, Surik shall return once her task is completed, and Khoonda's defenses have been sabotaged.
Well maneuvered. With both the mercenaries and the militia counting on your aid, you can influence the outcome of the situation as you see fit.
Indeed, she must now hurry to make use of what little time she bought.
Vrook has informed me that the mercenaries devised a plan of attack to annihilate Khoonda itself. Zeron says that even with a plan, the mercenaries have to gather their forces, then coordinate their assault. So we still have time. I'm afraid the militia has not been adequately trained for the task that befalls them. I must ask for your aid again, Jedi.
Surik offers herself and her crew to assist Khoonda's defenses. Given Surik's conversation with Azkul, their timetable expanded somewhat, until he realizes his saboteur had a change of heart.
It could be a day or even a week. Depends on how good Azkul is at organizing his men. I'm guessing not so good.
The Ebon Hawk's crew gets to work. The crew has been given full access to Khoonda's facilities. Having spent some time here already, they know their way around. Base defenses will require repairs, including defense turret controllers and battle droids, which have been sitting damaged for some time. Furthermore, key areas will need to be mined. At the very least, they will weaken the first few waves of enemy forces. Every little bit helps. They should also look into recruiting some nearby locals. If Khoonda falls, they will be ruled by mercenaries. That should be enough to inspire action. Then again, there are other motivations, both for settlers and even the scavengers.
I hadn't even thought of that. I know the militia will take just about anyone. I need the credits and would like working with people who will actually watch your back.
Lastly, the crew with battle experience should prepare Khoonda's inexperienced militia for what's to come.
Grenades? Well, I don't like to use them unless they're C5 concussion spheres or the Merson cryoban pellets. Sonic screamers aren't too bad either, just don't use them on a Bith.
Aggressive explosives such as plasma grenades may be useful in the early stages of the assault.
Trust me, mass slaughter weapons just cause trouble.
Interjection. Master, I must disagree. Merely the threat of mass slaughter...
Would you please shut him down? It's been like that ever since he arrived. Here's how to kill this, here's how to kill that.
Correction. Assassination theory and execution of said theories is my primary function. I also possess excellent hearing.
Great.
High-yield grenades certainly shouldn't be placed in the hands of inexperienced recruits, but Surik or Meetra could handle and deploy a few themselves to ensure they're used wisely.
Well, all right. You've got a good point. But look, be careful with them. All it takes is one blaster bolt to your bandolier strap and suddenly you're Paragus. Get it?
The only issue is that Khoonda only carries standard explosives. She was hoping Meetra may be able to make some tweaks to the few grenades they have in storage.
All right. Keep your robes on.
Lastly, Surik gives HK-47 the order he has been desperately waiting to hear. Hopefully he finally gets the entertainment he has been yearning for once the confrontation begins.
Statement. It is not mere entertainment, Master. It is art.
In the meantime, Surik will meditate with Kreia until the very moment Askul's forces are spotted, in an attempt to recover her energy sooner. Hours later, with much of the preparation work completed, Surik's meditation is interrupted.
We don't have much time. We got reports that Askul's almost ready.
Surik advises Zeron that this brief time should be used to speak to his men and ensure they're battle-ready.
Well, I'll tell them what's there to do. I'm not much for words.
That is unacceptable. The will of a single soldier may determine a victory or defeat. If speaking to them can elevate the chance of success, even slightly, it's worth the effort.
All right, I'll assemble the men. I hope you can speak good.
As Meetra Surik makes her way to the troops, thoughts and approaches swirl in her mind. The eyes of Dantooine's people fall upon her. She can sense their uncertainty, brought forth by the lack of leadership. Rumors of her identity as a Jedi have no doubt reached many of their ears, making them even more uncertain. Yet time is short, and she must choose her words with care. Dantooine's history may be brief, she tells them, but this day will echo through its future. Those yet unborn will look back at this day with pride and wonder, but only if they prevail. She senses the weight of the past in their expressions, the lingering blame the people of Dantooine still have towards the Jedi. But Meetra Surik is not here to seek forgiveness in their name, she tells them, but for the place she once called home, as they do now. This battle is like all the others she fought. It is a battle for the future. She had feared the military and the settlers would be disorganized and chaotic in the beginning, but they have taken their tasks seriously, moving like a unit, very much in sync with her instructions. And many are indeed given, for with their limited numbers, adaptations must be made quickly. Upon hearing that few of the mercenaries made it inside Khoonda, Surik rushes to the administrator's chamber.
If you'll excuse me, I have a date with the administrator, and I'm dressed to kill.
The Republic won't stand for what you've done here. You'll pay for your crimes.
I was going to make it a painless death, but you've been much more difficult than you had to be. Now you're going to pay. Stand aside. Our quarrel is with a distinguished administrator. This isn't your problem. Jedi, I take it you are responsible for the surprises we've had during this battle. We could kill you, but I think you'd slaughter at least 4 of my men. Recruitment fees are 250 credits per man, so 1,000 credits for us to avoid the hassle of replacing those men. Do we have a deal?
No deal. Apart from that, the offer sounds a bit insulting.
You look capable for a Jedi. Fine. A full squad of 8 then. 2,000 credits.
2,000 credits? Askel's insulting offer aside, he clearly never faced a Jedi during the war to know they cannot be bribed. Besides, it is unlikely he'll even find that many men to aid him.
Then you've allied with these flaming settlers. The galaxy doesn't tolerate weakness.
If it is weakness he seeks, he need only look outside to his men.
You have no idea who you're talking to.
With her energies replenished, she could say the same.
I was going to spare your worthless life. I see I was in error.
His presence here is the truest error of all.
I was trained at Malak's academy. Your tricks won't work on me. You're just another dead Jedi to me.
Worth the attempt, nonetheless.
Sorry I was held up, but it looks like I've arrived in time to pull you out of your predicament.
With the battle finished and Askel defeated, the mercenaries quickly realize there will be no reward in continuing their attack.
Thank you so much for your aid. You can be sure that Dantooine will not forget how the Jedi protected us from this threat.
While one Jedi did most of the work, still Surik is of course very happy to have been able to lend her assistance.
We are a humble community, and this conflict has greatly diminished our resources. I hope this reward will be sufficient.
She has no intention to take anything from Khoonda that may be used to make us stronger. She shall also reach out to some of the contacts she discovered on Nar Shaddaa to potentially open up more trade opportunities.
I am humbled by your generosity. I will put this to good use. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have much work to do. Dantooine will be slow to rebuild, but I am confident now that we will one day achieve prosperity.
After all of this, she does not expect the settlers' views to change overnight, but she hopes her presence has left a mark of the Jedi. Speaking of Jedi, she shall have to speak to Master Vrook. In the meantime, the crew should prepare for departure and return to the Hawk. Mikal, the historian, had earlier expressed interest in joining Surik on her journey.
It seems to me like our goals are compatible. Not much remains of the Jedi. I'm trying to find what little does remain. There are so many histories, relics, holocrons that speak of their teachings and their code. I fear that unless someone makes an effort to find and keep them, they will be lost forever. If you would have me, I can apply my knowledge and skills to helping you find the answers you seek.
Are you sure you want to take this guy with us? I mean, he's easy on the eyes, but he talks like a room full of Jedi.
Yes, bring him along. And when we get back to the ship, I'll prepare a celebration feast.
The decision is made. While the crew prepares for departure, Surik shall talk with Master Vrook.
Khoonda is safe in no small part due to you. I feel certain that the Administrator wouldn't have made it without your assistance. I may have misjudged you.
He is entitled to his judgment, whatever it may be. The first question to be asked is why Master Vrook chose Dantooine as his refuge.
Great tragedies, old battlegrounds, places of suffering, all leave wounds on the galaxy and in the Force. In such places the deaths of so many echo. So much so that it is difficult to center oneself. By coming here, those echoes serve to mask my presence, allowing me to investigate the ruins and try to find some clues as to who our attackers are.
Yes, the Jedi chose to hide from this unknown threat.
We were not in hiding, despite what you believe. This threat is striking through the Force. There's a reason that we cannot detect it. It is somehow masking its presence from us. There are techniques in the Force that hide one's presence and thoughts from other Force users. But I do not believe that such techniques alone would be capable of hiding the enemies we face. It does not seem possible.
If he is not hiding on Dantooine, what exactly is he doing here?
Jedi sanctuaries, places of learning, conclaves, many of them secret, have been attacked. That requires that our enemy knew of our whereabouts, or had access to records and holocrons from the Enclave here on Dantooine. There was much Jedi teaching buried here before the planet was attacked. In the hands of our enemies, such knowledge could be used to track and kill Jedi, find other enclaves, gathering places. And so much has been plundered from here that now many secrets of the Jedi have been spread throughout the galaxy. So I did what I could, attempting to let myself be captured. I hoped that it would lead me to the Sith and the stolen artifacts.
For the sake of avoiding conflict, Surik chooses not to comment on his tactic to discover the enemy. Instead, she tells Vrook of the masters she has thus far met, and that she talked to them about the past.
No doubt you still blame us for your exile. I had hoped your isolation would give you time to reflect on what had happened.
And it has. She also talked to the masters, mainly Zez-Kaiel, about her loss of the Force, and she still wonders what it was that caused it.
Although it was within our power, we did not inflict such a loss upon you. Your loss was a casualty of war, no more.
War leaves many scars, but rarely does it blind one to the Force. If anything, conflict and challenge may make the connection stronger, more intense.
Interesting. Her loss of the Force aside, she demands to know why they exiled her. Zez-Kaiel would not say, but perhaps Vrook may provide more information about what they were referring to in the recording of the trial.
That was intended only for the Jedi Council. If what remains of the Council chooses to tell you, then I will abide by their decision and its consequences.
Doesn't she have a right to know why she was exiled?
There is little I can tell you. Master Kavar felt something had happened to you in the war, but all he had was suspicions, not truths. And Kavar was too close to you in any event. He, too, felt the call of war and took to battle more than a Jedi should. His speculations would not help you now, but enough of this. It is knowledge for the Council alone until they choose to reveal it. The knowledge would not help you anyway.
Very well, then. The good news is that her connection is recovering after all this time, and she feels the Force once more.
Perhaps it is Dantooine, but I do not feel such from you. I feel nothing but what I felt in the Council Judgment Chamber on Coruscant so long ago. Still, you and your connections were often a subject of debate in the Council. It is possible that returning to known space, journeying with others, has caused the Force to stir within you again.
Master Zez-Kaiel helped her establish the technique which created a more potent link to the Force, useful to resolve situations quickly, but, as she saw, less appropriate for longer challenges. Perhaps Master Vrook would know of a technique that may bring more balance.
I suppose there is something I should show you. It will keep you alive long enough to prove useful. When you are facing a long campaign, you need to be more conservative with how you use your force energy. This form gives you increased force affinity. In simple terms, it helps you to quickly regenerate force energy in the middle of a fight.
As she trains with Vrook, the crew uses the time to wrap up their work at Khoonda and return to the ship. Mikal finds his place within the ship as the crew prepares for departure. Most of the crew embraces, or at the very least tolerates, the newcomer. Given his past scientific knowledge, he settles within the ship's medbay, which has gone mostly unused. He immerses himself in the medical inventory and sorting components and chemicals which may be of use in the future.
Must be hearing things, but for a moment.
Betrayal. All thoughts of me will slide from your vision, from your mind, like water. You know who I am, but you will be unable to voice it, to remember it. What does a Jedi see? Only what I allow them to see.
I don't know how you learned that so quickly. Still, your form is sloppy. Keep practicing to tighten it up and you'll be fine.
The affinity form will prove useful for the long journey ahead, and she suspects she'll avoid a repeat of what happened on Dantooine. With this, she will be ready, for the Sith assassins could strike out of nowhere at any time, as they had on Duxon.
Have they? I've seen no evidence of them upon Dantooine. Only murderers and raiders. For some reason, I believe you. Still, I am curious as to how they would know to find you. Your trial was not public knowledge. Regardless, these Sith have struck, and you survived. This is more knowledge than I had before. And that means the Jedi may gather. If you can find others, or find some trace of the Sith threat, then we shall gather here on Dantooine. And from there we may decide what can be done.
2 Jedi Masters remain. Master Kavar on Onderon, and Master Vash on Korriban. Until Master Kavar sends a message to return to Onderon, they shall proceed to the Sith world in search of Master Vash. While she expects many hidden dangers to emerge on Korriban, Surik does feel a dose of excitement at the thought of seeing the former base of the Sith, and the knowledge held within the tombs of the Sith Lords. The crew of the Ebon Hawk is ready to depart Dantooine shortly. Challenges aside, it felt good to return to this world. It teems with life, plants, beasts, humans, regardless of their allegiances. The flows of the Force are undeniable here. She cannot help but wonder how such things are seen from the eyes of a Miraluka.
It is difficult to explain. It is something that must be experienced if it is to be understood.
Visas has been quiet for most of their time on Dantooine, mostly focused on her surroundings. Surik wonders if what she saw here, what she sees now, bears any semblance to her homeworld.
The homeworld is no longer. The planet was not destroyed. It remains. It orbits, dead in space. But nothing lives on its surface. It echoes, but there's no one left to hear it. It is not a subject which I have spoken of since its destruction.
Surik didn't mention her to Master Vrook. If he knew of her ties to the Sith, he might cause trouble, even if she is the only one to have survived the destruction of KOTOR.
I am not certain I did. I still wonder what would have happened if I had died with the others. If perhaps there would have been some way to hide my presence from the galaxy. If only I had not felt that pain, that loss, as strongly as I did. But it could not be done. When the life was bled from the planet, and yet somehow I remained, my master came for me. He walked upon the surface of my dead world, and there, lying in the bodies of my race, he took me for his own. I was there when the planet died, to see everything around you extinguished. It was as if I was blinded. It was as if the Force had been bled from the world. I imagine there are worse deaths, worse pain. But if there are, I do not know them. I was the only living thing remaining on the planet of KOTOR, and my life, my agony, was a flicker in the darkness that was the planet. All that I had been connected to had been severed, and he made me see. And for the first time I saw the galaxy, and I wished to die. To this galaxy, my world, absent the currents and spectrums of the Force, was nothing but crude matter, rock, flesh, emptiness. He showed the flickering of life on other planets, the mass of beings that swarm through the empty places of the galaxy. To see such creatures, disconnected from themselves, their world, their place in it, unable to see the currents and how they affected everything around them.
She saw the galaxy through human eyes. To a mere Luca, that must have been...
My master, he has crippled me. I have seen the galaxy as it truly is, and it has left its mark. It is not something I can explain, for the words are difficult. I only ask that you understand.
Of course. Even if it has been so long, Visas never even began recovering from what he did to her. It is likely she never even spoke of it to anyone until this moment. Why would her master do this to her?
He showed me to make me believe in his cause. He convinced me the galaxy, all life, must die. He fed upon its ugliness, its screaming, and in its place, he left silence. And where there was chaos, he brought stillness and order.
He brought that stillness to KOTOR. But how did he do it? It must have taken a fleet of warships.
It was not a thing done with machines or weapons. The Force is far more terrible, and it touches more lives than any machine can hope to slay. For everyone that feels the Force, strongly, deeply, each one feels and perceives it in their own way. You have strengths, whether you know it or not, and my master has his.
So he destroyed the world through the Force.
His power is great, and it comes from hunger. He is a wound in the Force, more presence than flesh, and in his wake, life dies, sacrificing itself to his hunger.
Then he did not just destroy KOTOR, he fed on its life.
And those who feel the Force strongly are beacons to his hunger. My people, my planet, would have been attacked in time. It was inevitable. Yet we could do nothing about it.
The Jedi, their presence on KOTOR, acted as a beacon in the dark.
They hoped that perhaps among our people, they could achieve the clarity to see what was striking them from the darkness of the galaxy. They succeeded, but only in bringing him from the outer regions. And KOTOR, with my kind, with the Jedi upon its surface, could no longer be ignored. They hoped to see the threat that had been stalking them, and they did. But they were unprepared for the magnitude of the threat. And my people died, and the Jedi died, and there was no one left, only me.
If he is driven by hunger, then he will inevitably consume more life in time.
He cannot deny his hunger for long, and any gathering of Jedi is something he cannot long resist. And now that the Jedi are vanishing, I do not know what will happen. Perhaps he will grow strong enough to eradicate all life, merely with his presence.
Perhaps, but as all hunger does, it will make him desperate. That is his weakness. It is only a matter of finding a way to exploit it. Visas was right in saying she should not rush to meet him. She is not prepared, not only in force, but knowledge. Upon listening to Visas, she knows significantly more about what is pursuing her. Her training must increase, as does that of her allies, if there will be any chance of stopping him. Even if she may not face it yet, Surik has learned much about this threat, including its name, Darth Nihilus. Greetings, historian. The next fragment of Meetra Surik, the complete story, will become available on the following date. You may, however, access this fragment earlier within the following timeframe through memberships. Note that the complete story is still under construction. As fragments are formed, they will be made available to you. At the time of this fragment's appearance, the completion of the full story is indicated below. These story fragments will try their hardest to arrive on the first Saturday of every month. And as streams also typically take place on Saturdays, join them to share your thoughts and opinions. There may be one taking place shortly after this video, so examine the top of the description for more information. The knowledge has been imparted to you. Upon our journey, the pieces shall fall into place.